Well, hello. Welcome back to another exciting edition of Coffee with Stephen. So, this week's blog is entitled New York Rifle and Pistol Association versus Corlett. Now, I'm sure most of you are already somewhat familiar with this court case. You may remember the original plaintiff from a court case before, New York Rifle and Pistol Association. They seem to be at the forefront of Second Amendment jurisprudence. A little bit of some backstory. So the original New York Rifle and Pistol Association versus the City of New York had to deal with whether or not a premise permit would allow an individual to be able to carry a firearm outside of their home or move it from one location to another without having a permit. Anyways, that case was just about to go before the Supreme Court, and the New York Municipal Division essentially said, we're going to pull the regulation, the underlying regulation. We're going to essentially invalidate it. That way, the plaintiffs no longer have a case in controversy. They really didn't want this case to go before the Supreme Court. There's a reason for that. The fear was that if a gun case gets before the Supreme Court might actually rule that the Second Amendment means something. And, New York didn't want to be on the hook for something like that. Well, they mooted it out, and there was a bunch of controversy associated with it. Well, New York Rifle and Pistol Association has come back. This time, they have effectively created an unmootable case. In New York Rifle and Pistol versus Corlett, the question is whether or not the states have some responsibility to craft a procedure for somebody to be able to exercise their Second Amendment rights outside of their home. This falls squarely within the context of CCWs. Now, there's been a number of cases that have essentially said, look, there has to be some sort of methodology. The Second Amendment, pursuant to Heller versus the District of Columbia, the Second Amendment is a fundamental right. And the argument is that this fundamental right extends outside of your home. Bear arms is different from keep arms. Okay, if the Second Amendment simply said you have a right to keep arms, then arguably speaking, you might be able to have guns in your home, but you wouldn't be able to take them outside of your home. To keep and bear arms presupposes that you're taking them outside of your domicile. So if you have a right to bear arms outside of your home, there has to be some sort of methodology to allow you to do so. And effectively, it's going to come into one of two contexts. Either A, you're going to be able to allow to openly carry your firearms outside of your home, or alternatively, you can carry your firearms outside of your home concealed. Now, in New York, you can't legally openly carry a firearm, and New York denies carry permits, preventing you from being able to exercise this right outside of your home. So this now is going to go before the Supreme Court, a court that now has 5 justices that are putatively pro-Second Amendment. So this may be the big case. This may be the one, and the court has granted cert. Now, if New York tried to, essentially pull their statute, okay, that would be problematic because now they would have to start issuing permits, and that's the last thing in the world that they want to do. So this case is probably going all the way, all right? Now, the question is, how much of a decision are we actually going to get? Are they going to say that the Second Amendment is a fundamental right and therefore you have to use what we refer to as a strict scrutiny analysis or something akin to a strict scrutiny analysis when we analyze it? Or are they going to simply narrowly make a ruling that says you are able to bear arms outside of your home and there has to be some methodology for you to be able to do that? That remains to be seen. We don't know exactly how that's going to go. Some of my colleagues think that they are in fact going to make a watershed type event where they are going to create a strict scrutiny analysis and by definition essentially obliterate about 90% of the gun control laws that exist on the books. Others have said, they're probably going to be a little bit more nuanced and try to keep it controlled. I tend to gravitate towards that camp, but, I've been surprised before. So I definitely encourage you to read the blog. That'll help educate you onto what these underlying issues are. As always, I want you to train constantly, train consistently, train repetitively, and train with purpose. Above all else, stay safe.